Hi, and welcome to Kay Let's Talk, the podcast where we break down storytelling across books, television, and film with a special love for book-to-screen adaptation. Here, we talk about craft, character arcs, structure, dialogue, visual language, and the creative choices that shape how a story lands. If you like thoughtful conversational deep dives into the stories you can't stop thinking about, you're in the right place. Let's talk. Hi everyone. Before we get into any specific story or breakdown, I wanted to start by explaining why this podcast exists and how we got here. So, Kay Let's Talk started on TikTok, almost by accident. I began posting long-form breakdowns of stories I loved, especially book-to-screen adaptations, and talking through the craft behind them. The dialogue, the structure, the casting choices, the visual callbacks, all the things that shape how a story lands within me that don't always call attention to themselves. And over time, those videos got longer, the conversations got deeper, and a lot of you started asking me the same question, which is, can you put this somewhere where we can just listen? And that's really where this podcast came from. A desire to create more space for these conversations without having to rush through them in a world of short form content. What I've realized is that my bread and butter isn't recapping stories or reviewing them, but rather slowing them down and asking why something works, why a scene stays with you, why a relationship dynamic feels charged before anything happens, why an adaptation changes one thing but keeps another, and what that choice actually accomplishes. And I love talking about storytelling because stories are where we practice feeling things. They let us escape into an imagined reality for a little while and also teach us how to pay attention. Pay attention to people, patterns, emotional nuance, and we learn to appreciate the craft behind a story first. It makes it more enjoyable, yes, but we also become aware of how narratives shape the way we see the world and the people in it. So this podcast is a space for those kinds of conversations. Some episodes will be full breakdowns of shows, films, adaptations. Some will be more thematic. Some will include some reflections of my own experience while writing my first novel and trying to apply everything I spend so much time analyzing to my own work. But all of it is rooted in the same curiosity of how stories work and why they matter. So you don't have to be a writer or a filmmaker to be here. I'm certainly not a filmmaker. I'm just a student of life, and you don't need to like thinking a little more deeply about the stories you love to enjoy listening to other people talk about it, perhaps. Maybe just noticing things you didn't the first time around is where the joy will come. So I'm really glad you're here, and let's talk.